Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks. And yeah, I'm going to be looking at the new British Tier 8 medium premium tank, the Atomic Centurion. Yeah, just the Atomic Centurion. I thought they'd actually called it the Atomic Centurion 3, which is what it is. It's Centurion 3, which is essentially what the Centurion 1 is when it's fully upgraded, which is a bit confusing because it says Centurion 1, but yeah, you basically go from Centurion 1 through to the Centurion 3. And I think the 7.1 goes through various different forms up until about Centurion 9 or something daft like that, through the various upgrades. So yeah, the Atomic. I know I said I was going to be looking at the Scourge today, which is there. As you can see, I'm on the press account again. And oh, a quick note. Apologies for anybody sending friends requests to the press account. Because it's a press account, I just don't accept them on there. But I will accept them on my normal account if I've still got space. So yeah, the Scourge is there. I said yesterday I needed a bit more sort of practice to get back into it because I've not really played it for a few weeks. And the Centurion, I'm in the Centurion 7.1 on my own profile, so you know I kind of like the Centurion. I know a lot of people do, a lot of people don't. I do kind of like the Centurion and the Centurion 7.1. So playing this was just sort of like jumping into a sort of, I don't know, it was almost like slipping on an old pair of shoes. You kind of know what you're going to get. Whereas with the Scourge, it kind of plays like an IS-3. I've not been in that for a long time. Probably since I first started playing the game, almost, you know, a few months in kind of thing. So it just takes a little bit of getting back into with the IS-3 sort of mentality, if you get what I mean. But a quick rundown quickly. I will try and get the review up for this tomorrow. I mean, essentially, it's the same gun as the IS-3A or the Fatherland, or in fact the Glory IS-5. Essentially, it's pretty much the same gun, and it's basically slightly more mobile, or it feels it anyway. IS-3 with what feels like a slightly stronger hull front, but a weaker turret. It's got the stock turret from the IS-3, so that's generally what it is. You know, I mean, that's a very basic rundown, but it's basically an IS-3 with what feels like a stronger turret, hull front, because of the gun angling and the fact that you can angle it itself, with the gun from the IS-3A or the Fatherland, but with slightly less rate of fire than that version, but slightly more than the other one. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Atomic Centurion, and it is nice that the British tech tree is getting a bit of love and getting another premium. On the flip side, though, there are some other nations in the game that really could do with a bit of TLC. The Czechoslovakian one, for starters. I mean, you've got the Ziska, or the whatever it is, the Skoda T40, the plain version, but I think that's your only choice for a premium in that line. You know, we could do with something else in the Japanese line. You haven't really got much choice. You've got two STA2s. You've basically got a Tier 6 Tiger, or a Tech Tree OI, and then the Chi-Nu Kai, I think it is, as well. So yeah, I mean, I know you've got the anime tanks as well, but they are, well, I don't know if they've been available since the original, have they? I really can't remember now. Since the original release. So yeah, although it is nice, there are some other nations, like I say, that could do with a bit of TLC. And again, it's on the flip side, it is a little frustrating because with the British tech tree at the moment, your premium tanks are basically either a Cromwell or derivative of, or a Centurion or derivative of. Mostly, you know, there are a couple of other premiums in there as well, but generally that's the sort of biggest selection. I mean, you've got this, you've got the Huntsman, even the FV4202P. Is a Centurion derivative, and you know, has the 20-pounder kind of thing. And then, you know, with the Cromwells, you've got the Knight, the Berlin, the Snakebite. And again, you know, I'm not saying the bad tanks, I'm just saying a little bit more variety would be appreciated. But anyway, back to this. So the more eagle-eyed amongst you that are familiar with Centurions will probably notice that this has the 20-pounder type B barrel. What's the difference, you might ask, for those of you that don't know? Well, that's the type A barrel. You'll notice it's got no muzzle brake on the end, but it has got that sort of thicker part around the actual muzzle itself. But then the type B barrel has that collar part way down the barrel, and that's how you tell the difference between a type A and a type B barrel. It doesn't really come in until, you know, it kind of becomes a bit more important to tell the difference when you get to sort of coming up against Centurion 7-1 kind of thing, because the rate of fire is quite different on and the aim time, etc., from the Type A to the Type B. But that's how you tell which barrel it is. Anyway, essentially, it is a fully upgraded Tech Tree Centurion again. Little bit like the Huntsman, although that did have a smaller engine. But there are some differences, like I say. Don't get too excited because I've said it's got the Type B barrel, because it is a bit odd. There are a few things that don't quite make sense with this one. And the stats of this gun are one of them. So it is kind of in between the Type A and the true Type B barrel that we have in game, sort of stats-wise. But let's have a look. So, and also I've got a handy-dandy chart, which I'm going to thank Jack the Ripper for, who put it up on Twitter, and I'm going to pinch it and give you credit for it. So there you go, you've got the credit for this, but it's a very handy chart, and it's become very useful for this. He's basically done a chart comparing all the different Centurions, including the Prima Victoria, and that's on Twitter. I retweeted it as well, and it's also on his account. But anyway, you get the 750 engine with this one, which is the same as the Tech Tree one, which is also a bigger engine than the Prima Victoria and a bigger engine than the Huntsman. It says it's the Ordnance Quickfire 20-pounder Type B, as you can see there. Now, this is where some of the differences are with the regular Centurion, and in fact, yeah, also the others. Yeah, let's have a look. Right, so the regular Centurion's rate of fire is 7.5 rounds a minute, as is the Huntsman. The Primo gets 8. This gets 8.57. The actual Type B barrel gets just over 10 rounds a minute on the Centurion 7.1. A tier above this, so it is a bit different, and it also gets a much better aim time on that. I think 1.9 seconds. This gets a 2.3 second aiming time, which is the same as all the others basically, but this gets the worst accuracy as opposed to 0.33, which it is on everything else, I think. It is, let's have a look. Yeah, instead of 0.33, which it is on everything else. So yeah, as I was saying, before I pressed the wrong button and had to edit that bit out, yeah, this gets the worst accuracy at 0.35, which is, I don't know, just a little bit odd. I can understand them putting the Type B barrel on it. You see, in a way, when I first saw the rate of fire, I did think, ooh, you know, that's getting a bit close to pay to win it. It's basically the same as a fully upgraded one, but with a better rate of fire. But the accuracy kind of makes up for that, because that accuracy does make, or does seem to make, or has made, a fair bit of difference in some of the matches that I've played in it. I've not played loads because, like I say, I know the Centurion, so I could just jump in, get a couple of matches done, and that's it. Apart from that, same rate of fire and everything else as all the others. They've all got, it's all the 20-pounder. Both 20-pounders have the same penetration rate of fire. The only thing that generally changes from the Type A to Type B is rate of fire, aim time, and accuracy. No, accuracy might stay the same. Hull traverse at 36 degrees a second, which is, I think, the same as everything else. The Huntsman is slightly better, but that does have a smaller engine, so it only really kind of makes up for that. And this has 34 degrees on the turret, which is 2 degrees less than all the others, and obviously than the Tech Tree one. And this also has 10 meter less view range. Other than that, armor-wise, it is exactly the same as the Tech Tree one on the Huntsman, not the Prima Victoria, which does have the buffed turret armor, which we will be getting for all the other Centurions at some point. Along with, I think, possibly some improved terrain resistances. So there are some slight differences. It does have that better rate of fire, kind of balanced out by the poorer accuracy, and I don't know, minus 10 meters view range doesn't really make that much of a difference, really. Makes a little bit, but it's so negligible it's hardly even worth mentioning. I do kind of like the look of it, the fact that it's got that sort of rusted up gun mantle. The whole story behind this one is this is supposed to be the actual tank, and I think you can see it if you go onto the portal. There are pictures that was tested against a 9.1 megaton nuke, basically, and all it did was blow some of the loose bits off, hence no fenders on the front, and push it back 5 feet. So yeah, it did survive, and then it got basically scrubbed down, cleaned up, and put back into service, which was nice. The extra road wheels on the front and track do not act as any kind of extra armour. A little bit disappointed in that in one respect, kind of glad in the other, because again, if it had got that extra armour on the front, again, you could kind of cry pay to win somewhat, especially with that increased rate of fire. So basically what you're getting here is a Centurion, a Tech Tree Centurion, with a few slight differences, but that's basically what you're getting. So anybody that does like the Centurion missed out on the Huntsman, and would like a premium one to earn a bit of extra money, and this could be the tank for you, possibly. I think the base price is going to be about the same as the Huntsman and the Primo Victoria, if not a little bit cheaper actually. So yeah, it might be a bit of an option. But it's I don't know, it's one of those things, it swings and roundabouts. I mean, it's not a hero tank, so the price is a little bit cheaper than some of the hero tanks that have been coming out recently. But again, it is so similar to the Tech Tree one that it's kind of like, why is this a premium? Why haven't we got something else? So essentially, it is a reskin. There are a few small differences, but at the end of the day, it is essentially just a reskin. So bonus wise, by the way, and it does play up to tier 10, obviously, it's like I say, it's the same as a standard sort of Centurion almost, but you get a nice 65% silver earning bonus, which is nice, and 15% XP as well. Other than that, it is, like I say, the same. So equipment wise, vertical stabilizer, gun lane drive, gun rammer, and coated optics. Skill wise, if you've got to the Centurion, you're possibly going to know what kind of skills you want on it, but they are, they're very good on the ridge lines. They've got very good gun depression, and it does increase your turret armor. The top of your turret can get penned, that sloped bit from the gun mantle to the back can get penned fairly easily by some of the tanks you come up against, but obviously when you're using ridge lines, that increases the angle and it makes it a lot harder. But it's a fairly capable medium tank. I've always found it sort of quite a good all-rounder, although your hull armor is fairly weak really for a tier 8. So that is one of the downsides of the Centurion, but that's common across all of them. They are better sort of in hull down positions or poking over ridge lines. Shell wise, same price as everything else, all the others, 680, 440, 170. I've gone for the standard consumables. You can put camouflage on this, and inscriptions and emblems and everything else. It's not got any difference with that. That's not a perma camo, so you can put camouflage on it, and it kind of looks quite nice. It keeps the rusted thing on the front, so it does make you look worn, but it doesn't get in the way. The only thing is with some of the whites, obviously the kangaroo on the side, because this was an Australian tank, well, belonging to the Australian Armoured Division or Armoured Corps, so you do lose that with some of the winter camo. But other than that, yeah, you can put it on, so it's nice that this is sort of not a hero tank in a way. And I think that's about it. The only other thing worth mentioning, because I've mentioned everything else, power to weight ratio. Weirdly enough, on the Tech Tree Centurion it's 16.7, on here it's 16.68, which is a bit odd. And the only other difference I've found is terrain resistances, which are far better on this than they are on the Tech Tree Centurion, and the other two I think as well. So you get 0.6, 0.9 and 1.3, which is a lot better. But I think when we get the turret update for the Centurions, I believe that we're also getting the terrain resistance update. So although these are, as you can see, 1.1 and 1.9, although they are, they're still good, but they are much worse than the Atomic, they will probably change at some point along with the turret armor. But again, it's just, when. So, I mean, placement wise, I'm not going to go through all of this. You've seen Centurions in the game, you've come up against Centurions in the game, you're probably familiar with them, where to hit them and everything else. Quick reminder of where your ammo locations are, as with most of the British higher tier tanks, in the front, which is not good, so you do need to try and avoid getting hit in that lower glacis, and if you are shooting at one of these, go for that left hand side or the right hand side as you're looking at it. There's a good chance you could hit an ammo rack. Armor wise, again, not going to go too much into detail because it's the same. It's not got any extra bits, it's not got any bits changed, it's the same. It's not like the Primo Victoria, like I said, where it does have that thicker turret front for some reason. This one, even though it is essentially the I think the RAAC from the PC, they have nerfed the turret down to the sort of console Centurion turret, which is a bit odd, and would have been probably a good, it would have been a good idea to introduce the tougher turret armor with this, and then it wouldn't have needed nerfing and then buffing again at a later stage. But anyway, so yeah, I'm not going to go through the armor. It does not have the track plates, the bazooka plates, whatever you want to call them, the side skirts. Everybody calls them different things. This does not have them, whereas obviously the Tech Tree Centurion does. So they do act as a small amount of spaced armor on the side. But apart from that, that's the Tech Tree one you can see there, and the Atomic one. There is no difference. So I'm not going to get into all the details about the armor. We'll just get straight into the gameplay. Oh, same concealment, by the way, as the Tech Tree Centurion, 0.21 and 0.16. But as I said before, there is no camo on this. You can camo it up, which will obviously increase your camouflage rating. So yeah, let's just get into the gameplay and see how it handles. After the first of the replays. Now, apologies for that. I normally get a bit more time at the beginning of a match, but since the update it seems to get a bit less, so I'm going to have to start recording a bit earlier. As you can see there, yeah, you might be thinking, what are you doing? Well, what it was, obviously, though, those extra road wheels don't act as any kind of extra armour, but I just wanted to make sure that they didn't get in the way of the gun as you were trying to, you know, look down over the front of the tank, and they don't. You know, I just thought, I really hope they don't, because there's been the odd tank where there's like a light on the front and it does get in the way, so I thought I'd best just check. In case anybody asked, there you go. Now, something I meant to say at the beginning of this video in the garage part, which I'm going to say now and get it out of the way, and probably going to add into every single review that I do from now on, is that the stats of this tank and the other tanks I compared it against are correct at the time of publishing this video. And I'm saying that because there's been that many buffs and nerfs to various things recently that sometimes I'll put a review up and within a couple of 3 weeks it's out of date. King Dragon Type 59 is a prime example that got a buff to its gun very recently. Got that changed quite a lot, so you know, it wasn't that long ago that I did that review. And there's various other things as well. So yeah, the stats of this tank and the ones I compared it to are correct at the time of publishing this video, which is the 10th of April 2018. There you go. Now back into this, and again, I mean, you know, what more can I say really? It's a Centurion with a better rate of fire, worse accuracy. That's the long and short of it. Which is, you know, depending on which way you look at it, it is good or bad. As I said in the garage, I mean, you know, sort of quick recap wise, the 2 degrees of turret traverse, I haven't really, you know, this has got less than the Tech Tree one. I've not really noticed much of a difference. The terrain resistances do seem to make a bit of a difference to its mobility, its acceleration especially. You know, as I said before, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be quite annoyed with this and frustrated because it is just a reskin. I do get frustrated with the reskins because I do feel that it is a little bit lazy. Sort of, you know, it's kind of like, you know, change a couple of bits and bang, put a skin on it and done. So I do get a bit frustrated with it because I think there's so much more that could be done. It does feel a little bit lazy, and you know, I've mentioned this before. I'm not going to get worked up about it or anything else. It's just, it is what it is. You know, this is what's happening in World of Tanks console at the moment. You know, you either just accept it. You don't have to like it, but you know, you either just accept it and get on with playing the game, or you stop playing. And again, it's just one of those things. So, yeah, I do feel that maybe more could be done, or maybe if they introduced less of them, they would have more ideas or more time to come up with stuff. I don't know. I mean, you know, we got the Scourge last Tuesday, we've got this today. They are churning them out. And again, you know, I don't want people to think I'm down on this tank, you know, that I really don't like this tank or anything. You know, that's not the case. I do like the Centurion. I kind of like this tank. It is possibly one that I'd be tempted to add to my garage, maybe, for messing about and earning a bit of cash, but I've already got the Primo Victoria sat in my garage, and that's probably going to be the question that most people are going to be thinking, well, I say not most people, but some of you are going to be thinking is, if I've already got the Primo Victoria, or if I've already got the Huntsman, is it worth buying this? And I don't know. I think, I don't know. I think if you've already got the Huntsman, possibly not. although it does have the bigger engine, you know, the gun is a bit different. I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. They both earn a good amount of money. This, you know, this does earn decent money, or can earn decent money. And I've used a couple of sort of, well, I've used you know, a couple of more average games, and I've played a couple in it, to be honest. But as I said before, I'm used to the Centurion. Although I did donk that shot. And same with the Primo Victoria. I think if I was looking for something high tier British specifically to make money in and to train crews up, then I'd probably go for this. And personally, and some of you may not agree with this, and you know, that's fine, everybody has different opinions. Personally, I would go for this over the FV4 202P, but that's just my personal opinion. If I wasn't looking for anything specifically British, and I already got, you know, for training crews, and it was to earn money, I'd already got the Huntsman or the Primo Victoria, and this was in the store, I would possibly say that it's not worth adding to your collection as well, unless, you know, you are a massive fan of the Centurions and you want to own all the premium ones. You know, or a collector that, you know, likes to get all the premium tanks anyway. But I'd say if you've got the Primo Victoria, this may not be worth adding to the collection. Yes, it does have a slightly better rate of fire and a slightly better engine than that does, but the Primo Victoria, I think, has better shell velocity, because I think, if I remember rightly, and I could be wrong with this, if I remember rightly, it might use APCR as standard, but I could be wrong. But I think that does have the better shell velocity on its standard rounds, and it does have the thicker turret front, so it's just one of those things. Although, you know, I kind of do like the look of this. It almost looks stripped down without those fenders on the front, and I do like the sort of damage, rust or wear or whatever to the gun mantle as well. Oh yeah, this bit, I thought that defender's going to have me. I got a mercy roll, I'm on 9 health, he's going to have me, and then luckily my arse gets saved by a T-34-100, I think it is. There we go, tried to hit the plate, didn't manage it, and just as I thought, thank God that guy really saved my arse, I'm going to say thank you. Yeah, I got taken down by the T-71, I think it was. That one did unfortunately end up a defeat. It was a tough fight actually going towards the end, and the guys that were left did fight well, but unfortunately it just wasn't to be. But just under 3,000 damage done and a nice amount of money earned. And don't forget, this is the press account that I'm on. The daily doubles don't work on here, so that's, you know, not, even if that had been a win, I wouldn't have got a daily double or anything. But yeah, as you can see, it earns a nice amount of money, just under 3,000 damage done. Not great, not brilliant, but, you know, kind of average. Confederate in there, first class mastery. Again, not going to put too much stock into the first class and the 8 tanker badges at the moment. The tanks only just come out. You don't know how high the bar's sort of set. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Now, second match, I haven't got a tier 10 for you. This is a tier 9 match though. And it's an encounter on Kesserine, as you can see there. Now I'm going to move a bit further down, not towards the cap, but just past it, because there's lots of dunes and ridges and what have you on this bit, which is, you know, this can be a very nice map for things like the Centurion, the T-29, you know the stuff I'm talking about, good turret fronts, good gun depression. This can be a good map for those tanks if you can get yourself in a decent placement, because some of these dunes have got quite a, you know, sharp angle to them, and you can't quite get your gun down over them, so you've really got to think about where you're placing yourself on it. But yeah, it can be a good map for stuff like this, and that's what I'm trying to do now, is trying to find a decent placement. I've seen that tiger, and I'm just trying to figure out how I saw that tiger. And there's a small gap in the rock there, so I probably just saw his aerial peeking through and wobbling about as he went past, I don't know. But I am just constantly thinking about what's the other side of that gully, because quite often you can put yourself in a position over here on this side. You're dealing with whatever's in front of you, and shots can come in from across the gully, you know, if you get spotted, that sort of thing. So I'm just keep an eye on the map, what's across there. There's plenty of enemy tanks down in the gully, in the canyon. Doesn't seem to be much on the other side, or at least spotted yet. That's going to be sort of over more on my right, that might give me a bit of trouble. But again, I'm not in a particularly good position there. Or I didn't feel that I was. I couldn't get shots at anything. If I could, I couldn't get my gun down to it. So I'm going to move up here. Now, this isn't too bad. Oh! Now, that 2.3 second aiming time is a bit of a killer on the Centurion. I think that's my only gripe to it. Although, I don't know. You know, I'd love it to be like 1.9 seconds like the 7.1 has on its 20-pounder Type B. And that's not just on this, I mean that's like across all the Centurions. But I think that might make it a bit too, I don't know, a bit too OP. Maybe just knock it down to 2.1 or something. I don't know, see how that works out. I think that might be an idea with the Centurions. Might attract a few more people to play. I don't know, but anyway. Yeah, just that's always seems to be the thing with the Centurion. If I had any gripe about it, because like I say, I do feel that the Centurion is a pretty good all-rounder. And I think my only gripe is that 2.3 second aiming time, you know, which isn't as bad as it is on some of the other tanks, but the way that this plays, where you're generally at a bit more of a distance, you kind of feel it a bit more than you would on something like an IS-3 or a Scourge. You know, it's just in my mind because I'm trying to do the review of it, where you're generally a bit closer up and that aim time doesn't really matter as much because, you know, you're close enough to generally hit anyway. And yeah, that was badly aimed. You see, this one I do miss a lot of shots. Some sort of badly aimed by myself, or sort of a bit badly timed, the odd one. Some, it is down to the accuracy of the gun, or I'm trying to wait for that aim time to settle down, and it is... The accuracy difference definitely feels more prevalent at range with this. I mean, the difference at 100 metres is 0.35 as opposed to 0.33 on the other one. But then I think this does have a worse accuracy at, I don't know what the next one is it 500 metres it puts on, but it does, interestingly enough, have slightly better accuracy on a rotating turret, which is a bit odd. Like I say, you know, I like this tank. There's just a few things that are a bit odd to me about it, about the way that they've done it, the way that they've chosen to name whichever modules it is, the fact that they've called it Type B barrel, but it's not the Type B barrel that we're used to in the game. The fact that the tracks on both this and the Tech-3 Centurion are the Centurion Mk3 tracks, yet this has better terrain resistance than the normal Centurion, the Tech-3 one. But again, it's like they've taken this from the PC, which obviously I think on PC the Centurions have received the turret buff, and also they got the terrain resistance is altered on the Tech-3 ones, and this is taken from the PC. Yet what they've done is put the console turret on it, the 152mm at the front, but then seem to have left the terrain resistances as they are on PC. So I don't know. Some of the things just aren't quite making sense. But you know, they're little things, aren't they? You know, like the name of this, the name of that. Minor things. It's just, you know, just one of those things that's just on, you know, the back of my mind. Now at this point, I did think I've got myself in a bit of a poor position here. I can't quite get hull down against that Indian Panzer. He's done quite a bit of damage to me. There was that Waffenträger coming in, so I needed to get out of him. And yeah, donked the shot against the 5100 again. You know, could have probably waited for it to aim a bit better, but you know, that went off because of the aiming circle. But I was just trying to pull back there so that I could maybe go back at that Indian Panzer. Excuse me, my voice just completely went then. Maybe go back to that Indian Panzer, and he did again get another hit on me. I was a bit careless, poked out a bit too far, and again, the frustrating when it happens to you against an enemy, but it's so nice when it happens to you from an enemy. I got a mercy roll, which left me on very, very low health, but I've just managed to position myself now where that I can, you know, where that Indian Panzer cannot hit me, but I can shoot at the Tiger II that's going after that light tank of ours over that way. And I really did think that that Tiger II was possibly going to get fed up with me just chipping away at his health and go back at me, but he didn't. He kept focused on that light tank. I tracked him in the end, and the light tank took him down. I think I had marked the Indian Panzer as well, because I just... He would have taken me down. If I'd have gone back at him with where I was, I think he probably would have taken me down. So I did mark him, and somebody obliged and got rid of him for me. And now there is only one tank left. It is Tier 9 Chinese Heavy, WZ-11114. a bit of a mouthful. And a couple of people have said go for cap, which is kind of where I was heading. In a way, I thought, you know what, I'll go and sort of linger around near cap. Hopefully somebody else will go in. There were some other tanks heading towards cap at the time as well. And then somebody marked that side of the map. You know, going back a little bit now, because it's all there, but it, you know, it takes longer to say it than it does for it to actually happen. Yeah, they marked over there, so I thought, you know what, I will go and have a look. And by the time I got down into that canyon, it popped up. So screw it, get a bit more damage done. Why not? And again, I was a bit concerned that he might sort of turn around and pay attention to me, but his attention was taken by the TD. And there we go for the match again. 13 hits again. I think that's what I got in the last round, didn't I? I don't know, with the Centurion I always seem to top out at about 13. Well, that seems to be about my average. Unlucky for some, I suppose. So an ace tanker in that one, and another Confederate, another sort of just over 100,000 credits earned, and just under 3,000 damage done. So there you go, a couple of average matches. So yeah, that's it really, the Atomic Centurion. Yeah, apart from a few minor changes, it's a tech tree Centurion. If you really like that sort of thing and you want a premium one to really earn some credits in and what have you, might be the tank for you. But you know, like I said, the counter argument to that is it is kind of just another reskin with a couple of tweaks. So, but I do like it personally. But then again, I like the Centurion. Is it worth it? Well, that's not up for me to say, is it? It's your money at the end of the day, not mine. I can just give you opinions and sort of try and show you a few of the facts and figures. But there you go. Hope you've enjoyed that one. I'll be back tomorrow with another video for you. So until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.